What a night it was in the city that never sleeps. New York City was majestic and electrifying this evening as a once-in-a-lifetime event was hosted in Times Square. And we're going to be the ones that are going to shut this place down. I do believe Booker T and I have been tasked with keeping the lights on the longest here at Times Square. What a night, honestly. Booker T, I think none of us could have expected what was going to happen this evening. I think we were all anticipating some magic, and then these fights got off and running. The environment got cooking. The entrances started heating up, and it was a great night here to experience this live.
No, it was a great night. You know, always expect the unexpected. That's what we can say about the main event. With Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, nobody saw that coming. Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds, somebody made a lot of money in Vegas.
Yeah, I'd say the odds were gigantic. I think it was like plus 900 or something like that for Rolly to get a win over Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia completely humble at the end of that. The show, though, was it started out with a battle of the badges. Let's go back to the beginning as Gennari took on Joel Allen. And there's Joel Allen representing the police, and there's Paisano Gennari representing the firefighters. The police had a good run on beating the firefighters. Booker, we learned out quickly.
Yeah, but I tell you right now, you look at the firefighters, you know, in-ring IQ, you look at the boxing acumen, and right now he's did a hell of a job, walked in and walked out victorious. Beautiful. Look at that left hook.
I think he has like 32 fights under his belt. We got a chance to learn about him a little bit. That nose right there says, I have fought before. And obviously we're very appreciative for the police department here in New York and the fire department in New York. We'll talk to Gennari here in a few moments. That guy's a beauty. That was a good conversation. It was a great way to start tonight, Bo.
You know, he talked about how long he's been fighting, and I tell you, you can tell. You can tell he's got that look, he's got that swag, and he went out in the ring and showed exactly what the firefighters are all about.
He's been a fighter for 6 years, and he's been a fighter since he was 15, put on for the New York Fire Department. And then let's go to the next fight. We had Tsutsumi, which is the Japanese phenom, 26-2 as an amateur, taking on Whittington, who had a 2-2 record. A lot of people were excited to see the fella from Japan kind of do his thing, especially here in Times Square. He kind of controlled the fight, but it wasn't long. It wasn't long, didn't it, Bo?
Yeah, people thought Whittington was going to be a tomato can. He actually came in here and he stepped up tonight. Also, Tsutsumi, I mean, he did a hell of a job. He tried his best to try to get Whittington out. He threw those right uppercuts, man, was deadly. But I tell you, that's what the fight game is all about, that 16 weeks of training, and Whittington showed it.
Yeah, and Tsutsumi gets his first professional win here in the United States of America. They had been singing his praises, and with the way it was booked, you know, Booker, you said tomato can. I think a lot of people were expecting a nice, easy win. He had to go through a little bit of a dogfight. Shout out to Whittington. Congrats to Tsutsumi. And then the card would continue with Lopez.
Oh, yeah.
Taking on Barbosa Jr., who is undefeated. Teofimo Lopez, who had been a champion early in his career, then he lost, then he got back, then he retired. Now he's all the way back, taking on an undefeated Barbosa Jr. And Teofimo's back, it feels like, Book.
I mean, Teofimo looks sharp tonight. I must say, go back to the big win over Vasily Lomachenko. He actually had that same feel, that same swag, so elusive in this fight. And I tell you, he brought the offense as well. He wasn't shy away from taking a shot or anything like that after, you know, being beat. That's the one thing you always think about with a fighter. Is he going to come back with that same veracity? And I think Teofimo did that.
I think he did all week, too, leading up in all the interviews. He looked very confident. Barbosa looks very cool. I mean, let's not get it twisted. I appreciated Teofimo's speech afterwards, too. He said, if you have a dream, chase it, man. Just keep going after it. Obviously, he's been through some stuff in his life, in his boxing career. Now back on top in Times Square. I think we're all pretty pumped up for Teofimo.
Oh, man, the boxing game is rough, man. You talk about PTSD. I mean, I think it's really real. With these fighters, they have to actually get up for that fight every single time. It's so hard over a career.
Yeah, especially if you lose your confidence. To get it back, I'm happy for him. What a night for him. And then the card would roll on as they're saying 3 main events. And Haney put on a spectacle of not getting hit. This guy is so damn quicker than a hiccup, and he was able to land a couple shots as well. He gets another win here tonight.
I say put him in the next Olympics, man, because I think he can run with Usain Bolt the way he was out there tonight. One thing about Devin Haney, He's not that hard of a puncher. He doesn't pack a solid shot or anything like that, but his footwork, man. I really think Devin Haney's footwork is his key to victory every single time. And tonight, he proved it once again. And still, you gotta love it.
Yeah, still undefeated, Devin Haney. Congrats to him. And you talked about him with Usain Bolt. 12th round, he looked just as quick as the first round.
No, man. I mean, he wasn't even sweating in the 12th round.
The cardio on these dudes. This is my first time getting this, because this was an intimate setting out here.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the humidity out here as well.
Thick.
For Devin Haney to come out and run 12 rounds and literally run.
He did. That guy was in control. I mean, Haney was not in control at all. He was kind of just dodging, weaving, landing shots. I think that's boxing, precision boxing.
Yeah,
Obviously, congrats to him on getting a win. But getting up close and personal, getting to watch this, the conditioning, the cardio, the amount of shots, and you talked about the humidity. It was thick out here, and it was dead air because of the fencing here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was tough. I would have been... Yeah, I was impressed by Haney. He didn't look touched or tired at the end of that thing.
12 rounds, man. 12 rounds of championship boxing. They say it's the hardest thing one could imagine, but they say the fight is one thing. But like I say, that's 16 weeks of training.
Yeah.
That's where you lose the fight or actually win the fight, and that might be what we'd be talking about here in the main event.
Yeah, what you do in the dark comes to the light.
Yes.
You know, Rolly Romero had a hell of a camp, we would assume, because what an upset. Rolly Romero, who had been fantastic in the interviews leading up, and I think everybody has mad respect for him, pulled up in
Eddie Guerrero low rider.
Yeah, he did. He had a low rider, a little bit of. From round 2 on, it was a different fight. Rolly knocked him down. Garcia felt the power, and from that moment right there on, it was a much different fight.
Like Eddie Guerrero, he looked like Poppy. He looked like Poppy tonight in this matchup. The thing is, Rolly, when he came in, he had a look in his eye, and I was wondering exactly what that look was all about. Was he worried a little bit? But I don't think so. I think he was more focused than anything tonight, more focused than I've ever seen Rolly Romero in this fight. And the thing is, he needed to be focused, always coming in with hard shots, but tonight, he was a thinker. His fight IQ was definitely on point. Boxer, puncher, great action. 12
rounds, Rolly Romero, with Ryan Garcia. And Ryan Garcia afterwards was very humble. He congratulated Rolly, said he's going to have to go back to the drawing board. Literally, from the knockdown on, Rolly won that fight. We didn't know if the judges were going to give Rolly the fight. Like honestly, with how big Garcia is, he's the main event. That's the reason why it is the main event. You thought Rolly won the fight, pretty clearly from watching it. Didn't know if it was going to go that way because boxing, you know, like that.
Got to give Rolly a lot of credit, I mean, because he came out and established himself immediately with that knockdown early. And I think from that point on, I think Ryan Garcia was apprehensive. He was, you know, he was gunshot. He was scared to let that shot go, and I think that's what hurt him.
Kind of had a slower pace too than I think we expected, right?
Well, I thought that's what's going to hurt him, because Rolly Romero fighting at that pace, just walking, almost like we do in wrestling, walking and talking, baby, walking and talking. He could do that all night, and he proved that was a winning strategy.
Congrats to Rolly, humble in victory as well. And I think that was a great way to cap it off. A massive upset to wrap up this Fatal Fury City of the Wolves once in a lifetime fighting event here at Times Square, brought to you by the Ring magazine. I would say social media said that this was a successful evening. We were kind of tracking it on our phones while we were here. 4 of the top 5 trends, I do believe, at one point were either Devin Haney, Garcia Romero, and Fatal Fury. We had to pull this before the Garcia Romero fight ended. We assume that is going bananas as well because of how big of an upset it was. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves available now. # Fatal Fury trending. Obviously good for all parties there, especially if you're a gamer like Booker. Booker said he's going to jump into Fatal Fury here, but I think I think they would say that's a successful evening if you were to judge the way the social folks were chit-chatting about it. And then some of the just scenes that we had here, because we're in the middle of Times Square, were epic and legendary. Here's a tweet from Boxing Orbit showcasing the construction workers that were able to stand up over top and look down on Teofimo getting a win over the undefeated Arnold Barboza. It felt special tonight, you know.
What a sight! That's a beautiful, beautiful sight.
A lot of scenes that you could never expect or to see, you know. And whenever you hear there's a fight in Times Square, you wonder what it's going to be like. And it's like you got construction workers taking a break. Thank you for their service building this place up, but also get a chance to watch some elite fighting as Times Square is reopening up to society as opposed to just fight fans. Welcome back here to the desk. I'm Pat McAfee. This is Booker T. He's a 2-time Two-time Hall of Famer.
There it is.
Still got the spinneroonie, too, I learned. And joining us, ladies and gentlemen, a man who started this evening with a dub over the police department.
Give me some,
My guy,
baby.
Janari. How you doing, pal?
I'm feeling great. You know, just living in the moment right now. This is surreal, to say the least.
Yeah, well, we got a chance to chit-chat with you down there. You've been boxing since you were 15. You've been a firefighter for 6 years.
Yes, sir.
You got asked about this fight how long ago?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, is that how it normally works? Fill us in on how this works. Like,
No, usually you have a little bit more time, maybe a month and a half, where you could really focus in, hone in on the training. But you never know. Sometimes it'll be a week, 2 weeks. Most people say no if it's 2 weeks, but I like to fight, so it doesn't matter. You tell me 2 days in advance, I'll be ready. I keep myself in shape. So
thank God you signed up for this. What a moment, what a scene.
Man.
You're from Staten Island. You live in the city now, obviously. You just got a big-time dub. What was tonight like for you walking into this?
So as I was walking into the ring and I see Snoop Dogg and I see Mike Tyson and, you know, all the star power, I don't even think I was able to fathom before I took this fight what this was going to be. And it kind of all hit me as I was making my entrance. So I'll just say it was bigger than I would have ever imagined.
15 years old, I'm sure you've come into the city so many times. But can you imagine coming into the city, being here in this moment? I remember my first WrestleMania moment in front of 70,000 people. My knees were shaking, butterflies all over the place, having to get those butterflies to line up and fly straight. How did you get those butterflies to line up and fly straight before you walked out there?
You know what? It just starts with breathing. I just remember to breathe. Don't forget to breathe, because sometimes you forget to breathe and that's when the panic sets in, but you just keep breathing and you know you take it in and you realize, like, wow, this is history. Yeah. This is you're a part of history right now. I'm sure it's the same with WrestleMania. You just gotta roll with the punches, you know, as no pun intended.
I like that.
Yeah, your nose does, obviously. Taking a few of those. We watched you walk in here. I was up on the set with Mike Tyson and Kate Scott. Joel Allen, who was representing the police department, once again, we appreciate his service. He was introduced first, and he just walked by. He was, like, locked in. And I was sitting up here. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, this is his walk. You came up here, big smiles. You looked over at one point, and you said, oh, my God, Mike Tyson, I think.
Yeah.
And it felt like, whenever you talk about directing butterflies, it felt like you had a very loose kind of feel going into this fight.
Yeah.
I talked about this earlier. This is your 32nd fight or 31st fight?
32nd fight, yes, sir.
Okay, so you just box full-time and you're a firefighter full-time? How's that work?
Well, I'm a firefighter full-time. I box. Boxing is my passion. I feel like every man has to have a profession and a passion. So boxing just so happens to be my passion. But I do treat it like a career in itself. But make no mistake, firefighting is my full-time career.
Okay, so the cops have had a lot of dubs, right?
They do. They get a lot of the close decisions, I will say.
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
All respect to them. They definitely they got a good boxing team. They got a good program. The Cops and Kids Foundation. They have city-funded gyms and great trainers, great sparring, and all respect to Joel, my opponent, and anybody that sets in the ring, whether you're a cop, fireman, or just somebody that loves to fight.
No corruption or anything like that, though, right?
Yeah, well, he said they always get the
I don't want to get it.
It seems like you're trying to hold back a little bit.
I don't want to get a summons in the mail or anything like that.
Because they got that as well.
How does it feel, having something that no one can ever take away from you this moment? How did that feel? I know it hadn't sank in yet, but just give me a summation. Just a little bit.
You know what it feels like? It's like a dream. Right now it feels like a dream. It feels like I haven't woken up. Yeah, pinch me, man, because it doesn't feel like reality. I feel like I'm just on cloud 9.
What would the celebration be like back at the department? What would it be like? Will everybody else cook for you? Will they bust your balls? Will there be shit talk?
Yeah, they'll probably break my balls more than they make me work the force overtime and all that. Oh, you think you're a celebrity now, blah, blah, blah. But no, they'll be great. It's, I was glad. I'm so happy to represent them. My firehouse was here representing the fight, and they gave me a little extra motivation. I seen them in all their Class A uniforms, and that was, it was just as exciting to see them as it was to see Mike Tyson, and Snoop Dogg. And you know, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see them. I can't wait for work. I have work tomorrow, and I'm excited to see.
Well, thank you for your service, brother.
Excited to see what they have to say in the morning.
Thank you for your commitment for our entertainment tonight. Thank you for your commitment to serve the city that you are from. And my uncle was a firefighter. I told you this earlier, same with my cousin. So many holidays, you know, kind of gone from the family, hanging out the department, running towards something that everybody's running away from. We appreciate the hell out of you, man. And that nose. You know,
I'll get it fixed after I stop.
I think it's an indicator that you're tough. I think it's an indicator that you're willing to take a fight on 2 weeks' notice, and I think it's an indicator that you're willing to get a dub for the fire department for the first time in a long time over the cops. Are they the only people you guys fight?
No. So actually, on June 13th, under the stars on the beach in Rockaway, we're taking on the Irish Garda, and all the money from that event is going to go to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, which is it helps give homes to homeless veterans and first responders that get injured on the job. That's an annual event. We fight every year. We fight a different department from all over the world. So this year we're fighting Ireland, and we know that they're tough. We fought them before, and like the cops, they seem to get a lot of the decisions, but I think they deserve it more than they do.
Oh, I like that. I respect that Paisan. Irish Paisan battle has been going on for a long time in this city. June 13th, that happens?
June 13th.
So will you train all the way through, just as if you were?
I'll probably have a few drinks tonight and then get back in the gym, maybe you know, a couple of days after my 24-hour shift tomorrow.
Man. Celebrate a little.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Congratulations, man. We appreciate the hell out of you. Appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Paisano Gennari, who gets a massive dub here and kicked off this entire Fatal Fury City of the Wolves once-in-a-lifetime event. Sweet tats on him, Book.
Yes, indeed. Now, hell of a job, James, man, for the fire department went out there and beat the hell out the cops, man.
Whoa. It was a decision. Obviously, Times Square is alive, as it will always be. It was interesting kind of watching this all come together. You know, from the building, I was here earlier today, from building it all up to the truck, like, shout out to the Zone for pulling this off. Shout out to the Ring for being behind this. Shout out to Turkey El Sheikh, who stopped by, obviously. Shout out to the Crown Prince. God bless him.
Yes, indeed. Many times over.
God bless him.
Many times over.
Yeah, shout out to Times Square for being the home of, you know, so many magical moments throughout the world's history. And tonight, something for the first time ever. I assume there's going to be more things like this in the future with what the future of boxing is with Turkey and TKO Group kind of leading the way. But it was an honor to be here, Book, and I appreciate you coming.
I think this was honestly, truly one of the biggest nights for boxing throughout the history and the annals of time. I really do. The boxers are gonna get so much out of this. So I appreciate that because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I think this, and if you go back to last week in London, I think this is like a good indicator for what the future is about to be. Creative, thinking outside the box, getting money for the fighters, kind of setting something up with a little bit of organization in the boxing world, maybe a reset button. Not that everybody feels that way, but I feel like this is going to be a reset button for boxing, and hopefully it all goes the right way. And it continues tomorrow, Riyadh season. Canelo Alvarez is stepping into the ring. We will have a pre-show live from the Thunderdome tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern on DAZN and YouTube. We are so incredibly grateful that we get to be a part of all of this. From Times Square, I'm Pat McAfee. This is the coolest dude on earth, Booker T. Time. We'll see you tomorrow from the Statue of Liberty and the Ring.